My name is Adonis Ortiz, and for about 2 years I lived in Tallahassee, where I partied with FSU kids almost every night. All began in the summer of 2022. I was on my way home from work, and as I was skateboarding down the street, I looked at my phone and I said, "It's Saturday, so tonight I'm gonna go to the fucking club. Tomorrow's Sunday fun day, so I'm gonna go to the fucking club. Monday, go to the fucking club. Tuesday, go to the fucking club. Wednesday, go to the fucking club. Thursday, go to the fucking club. Friday, go to the fucking club. Because every day is a party day until you die." I posted the video on Snapchat and Instagram, sent it to a few friends, didn't think much of it. About a year later, an anonymous person sent that video to Barstool FSU on Instagram, and they posted it, where it got over 5,000 likes and over 2,000 shares. The video became so popular that I would walk around campus and around College Town and people would recognize me as the go to the fucking club guy. Got to the point where I'd be walking around College Town and people would stop me and ask for a picture. It was interesting going from just being a regular kid around the city to someone that everyone knew about. But just a short while after that video went viral, I got a job at one of the top bars in Tallahassee, Potbelly's. And that's when things started to get a little hectic.
Game over. Those are the champions of college football.
It was April 2023 when I finally got hired at Potbelly's as a production assistant, one of the most fun jobs I've ever had. And to my surprise, thanks to that little Barstool video, half the staff, including management, already knew who I was. I still remember going up to the manager to introduce myself, and he said, "Oh, I already know who you are." And I said, "Oh, really? That's interesting." And he said, "Yeah, it helps being famous." Well, as they say, being famous is not as cool as it seems. Rule number 1 about working in a nightclub: don't talk about working in a nightclub. Every night, my friends would go up to the gate and tell security that I said they could get in for free, or that I could go to the DJ booth, or I could go to the back of the club, which was an employees-only zone, or something. You name it, they came up with some excuse using my name to try and get it done. And it didn't help that I was now famous all over Instagram, so I had people who didn't even know me going up there and saying that they knew me. I thought, like most viral videos, eventually people would forget about it and move on with their lives, but no, people didn't seem to forget about this one. And soon enough, I became very frustrated when every shift there was some idiot who thought because he knew me, he could just get in for free. And I learned from my friends, some of who worked management in other clubs or security in other clubs, that this is actually very common when you work in that kind of industry. Soon enough, people started trying the same thing at other clubs, believe it or not. I heard people were going over to Recess and telling security that they were on my VIP list. And they didn't stop there. I'd be working or just walking around minding my own business, and people would stop me and ask for a picture. One or two people, this was no big deal. But when it started to become almost every person that you passed by asking for a picture, it became a little pain in the ass. It was annoying anywhere I went when I was in a hurry and people wanted to stop me, but it was more annoying at Potbelly's because I was there to do a job, and I wanted to do a good job, and it was a little hard concentrate when people were stopping me. So, you know what I learned? Number one, not everybody needs to know about my job or profession, but we all learn from our mistakes. Now, I'll tell you one of the most interesting story about a homosexual who I didn't know and nobody liked, not because he was gay, but because he didn't respect other guys' personal space. So I've been working at Potbelly's for maybe about a month, and there were rumors going around the frat boys in town that there was one particular guy who always looked like he was on heavy drugs. And the rumor was that he would go into the bathrooms and try and grab these guys' dicks. The point is, nobody liked him for this reason. And one day I was at Clyde's, and sure enough, I'm using the bathroom. This guy walks in and straight up tries to grab my dick while I'm in the middle of peeing. So I elbowed him right in the ribs, slammed him against the wall, and punched him right in the face, and I told him he needed to back the fuck off. And then I walked out. I enjoyed the rest of my night, forgot about it. I didn't think he would bother me again after that. Well, the next day I was at work, was walking by the entrance, and sure enough, the guy is trying so hard to convince the security guy that he was on my list. And the security kept telling him no because, we only get a certain amount of people, and his name was nowhere on my list. So this is the part where I stepped in. I stepped in and I tried to tell the guy off, and I said to him, listen, I know you're not on my list because number one, I don't like you at all. Number two, I only have like 3 people on my list every night, so I know exactly who's on my list and when. And then, despite the fact that I was standing right there and called him out for lying, he continued to try and convince the security guys that he was on my list, and then he tried to convince me that I had forgotten about it. Well, he eventually left, and then I told security, I said, yeah, listen, him and I, we kind of got off on the wrong foot. I don't like that guy at all. He was also the guy who went to recess and told the security guard there that he was on my list. Because, I don't know why, but for some reason he thought I worked there, maybe because recess was one of my top hangout places at the time. Then the next weekend, the same guy went to Baja's and tried the same technique, which is strange because I hardly ever go to Baja's. From the stories I heard from my friends, a lot of these places didn't even know who I was. And they would look and they'd be like, yeah, we don't even have an employee with that name, so we don't really know what you're trying to do here. I have nothing against gay people, but this guy in particular had no respect whatsoever for personal space. There were a couple times in recess after this all happened that he tried to hang out with me. And you know how he got my attention? He would walk up to me while I was minding my own business and basically start slapping my arm multiple times until I started paying attention to him. And this didn't want to hang out with him. It just made me dislike him even more. Working at Potbelly's was really fun. I met a lot of cool people there, many of who I'm still friends with today. Tyler Gin, he was one of the most popular bartenders at the time, and he's now graduated from FSU and moved on from Tallahassee, but he became one of my best friends. I'll tell you a funny story about how I started a little rivalry between the bartenders. It was a Thursday night. Now, if you don't know this, which if you go to Florida State you should, but every Thursday is Purgatory Thursday, where Potbelly's has all you can drink from 9 to 11, most popular night of the week. I think it's one of their most fun nights, actually. At one point, after I had worked at Potbelly's, I was going there literally every week. Well, Tyler said to me, he said, hey, can you tell my friends to come to my bar and give me tips? And I said, sure, no problem. Well, I took it up a notch. I made a video and posted it on Snapchat as well as my personal TikTok. But I said, hey, everyone, go see Tyler. Don't go to Sabrina. Don't go to Jenna. Don't go to Dylan. Don't go to anywhere else. Just give all your money to Tyler. Everyone else sucks. So, naturally, the rest of the bar staff became very aggravated with me. And Tyler was like, hey, this is great, but you just aggravated the entire staff over at Potbelly's. But they all knew it was a joke, all except for Sabrina, who took it personally. She asked me why I had a problem with her, and I had to convince her that I was just playing a joke by telling all my friends to never go to her bar. And then when Tyler graduated and moved away from Florida State, I started telling everyone that Sabrina was the best bartender. While and after I was working there, I also became friends with Chico Suave, who used to work in the same position as me, but before I worked there, he's now gone to start on his own company called La Familia Entertainment, where they host some parties and events. Ace Prodigy, who's become a very successful singer alongside Rollin Styles, who's become one of the most popular rappers. Now, I met Chico at a house party, actually, and coincidentally found out that he used to work at Potts before me. Now, Chico's about 3 times my size, and my dumbass thought I was invincible, and so I tried to convince him that I could outdrink him. So we put it to the test, and I downed cup after cup. Long story short, I vomited all over the porch and then passed out. I don't remember much of it, but I heard all about it from Chico and his crew afterwards. Matter of fact, I remember running into his friend Dennis one time while I was working a shift. I said, I'm sorry, but I don't remember you. I said, was I drunk or blacked out when we met? And he goes, the first 2 times, no. The 3rd time, yes. You were passed out on the porch. And then I remembered the party. Anyways, fast forward to about 6 months later, I was no longer working at Potbelly's. The whole go to the fucking club video had kind of died down, but people still asked me about it everywhere and try to take pictures with me. And it was less annoying now because it's not like I was in the middle of work. But it still got on my nerves if I was trying to meet up with friends or trying to get somewhere and people were stopping me to ask for pictures. But one night I had a wild idea to start an account because I thought, wouldn't it just be so cool if, you know, there was an Instagram account that told you everything that was going on in your city party-wise? So I ended up creating the account right then and there, and you know what I called it? Go to the fucking club. So, I put up some flyers. I got help from Brendan and his, shady promotions company to help design flyers, hired a couple models. Potbelly's let me hang up a banner right in the garden, which helped out a lot. But yeah, that's a little quick overview about my time working at Potts. Next episode, we'll be talking about more fights, more drama, more girl problems, including one with Ava. Not to be confused with DJ Ava, but no, I'm talking about a completely different Ava, who caused quite a lot of trouble around the city. Anyway, thanks for tuning in. This is the Tallanasty Podcast.